And you are now behind enemy lines, baby. How you doing, everybody? Gene Berardelli, Ross Galloway here with you tonight. We got a big show planned for you. Ross, how you doing?
What's going on? That intro is getting faster and faster, man.
Or we're just getting older and older, and our reflexes aren't working so well. But
yeah,
either way, it's a thing now. It's our thing. So we got a great show for everybody. I want to thank everybody who's tuned in. Be sure to like, comment, share, subscribe, all that really, really good stuff, because that's going to help us grow via all the algorithms out there. So thanks for tuning in. And special shout out to all of you who tuned in to our short video about Kathy Hochul over the weekend. That's been blowing up thanks to you guys. So we're going to keep on talking about it because there is new news surrounding that topic. We're also going to talk about what's going on with TSA, ICE's presence in airports, what the hell is going on in Philadelphia, and their DA threatening ICE. We're going to take a look at the whole DHS shutdown and the unfortunate news out of Chicago concerning that young student, Sheridan Gorman, who was unalived, allegedly by an illegal immigrant. We got a lot of ground to cover, so as we're waiting for people to come in, I'm seeing people coming in. Guys, let us know where you are, how you doing, if you're having a good evening or not. We're glad that you are here with us. Wow, that was a quick 90 seconds of telling everybody what's going on. Oh, okay, yeah. That is classic. This is the Gen X call to order. AFL, maybe. That is the Gen. For those of you out there who may be younger, obviously we got the gray hair going on here, whatever. Ask your parents about ASL.
Oh,
you'll get a whole
tell
story.
Us where you're from. Tell us how old you are. Yeah.
Yes, your 20s hanging out in the 30s chat. Your 30s hanging out in the 40s chat. Your 50s hanging out in the 20s chat. You guys will remember all that.
The old AOL chat rooms.
The old AOL chat rooms, baby. Oh, the screen names.
The good old days, man.
Oh my goodness, yes. So let's get into it right now. I talked earlier about the video that's been making the rounds from our channel. It's got close to 4,000. It's right around 3,700 views right now. Talking about Kathy Hochul's double dip of hypocrisy. Take a look at this, pal. This is what's going on in the People's Republic of New York.
Kathy Hochul said this.
The era of Trump and Zeldin and Molinaro, just jump on a bus and head down to Florida where you belong, okay? Get out of town. Get out of town. Because you don't represent our values. You are not New Yorkers.
Pepperidge Farm remembers.
Now she's singing a different tune.
I know New Yorkers are exasperated. They feel that everything's stacked against them. They're not getting ahead. Their rents are too damn high. Their child care costs are high.
So what's the plan?
I need people who are high net worth to support the generous social programs that we want to have in our state.
But didn't you just see?
There are some patriotic millionaires who stepped up. Okay, cut me the checks. I mean, just if you want to be supportive, but maybe the first step should be go down to Palm Beach and see who you can bring back home, because our tax base has been eroded.
And whose fault is that? No one's coming back unless you change the policies that cause them to leave in the first place.
Right.
And by the way, you can find this video on YouTube, on Rumble, on Parler. It's under the shorts or the reels or bursts, whatever they call it, wherever you're watching it. You can check it out there as many times as you want. And that's what it is, pal. Kathy Hochul begging and pleading for all the people she said are not New Yorkers to come back to New York.
Bro, I can't think of a single thing that would make me go back to New York. If they changed all their policies and I got offered a job for $500,000 a year, I would not come back. Like, there's zero chance. So I would have saved some face and not done what she just did. It's humiliating. She did this to herself. Don't forget, she was Andrew Cuomo's lieutenant governor, and Andrew Cuomo was the first one to tell Republicans to leave. And a lot of them did back then when he said it. And it just kept on rolling right into her administration.
Matt Lofton in the chat checking in. Hey, pal, how you doing? Glad you're here. See you commenting on other videos as well. I'm glad you're an active part of our community, man. Like Carl Higbee said, like the billionaires are going to come back and to what? High taxes? Not only that, Kathy Hochul has learned, oh my God, there's competition out there. Other states have incentives to bring these high net worth people and their businesses to us. And Hochul is not offering anything to anyone except saying, you can be patriotic and come back here. What a load of crap.
Yeah, and that's the astonishing thing. Donald Trump actually pokes fun at the Democrats all the time about this. Like, there is no policy proposal Democrat-wide, but since we're talking about New York, like, there's not a single Democrat in New York proposing any policy that may result in people not leaving New York or actually moving back in there, right? Unless you're an illegal immigrant that's going to get a bunch of, a sanctuary city policies and free healthcare and free everything else that the tax base cannot afford, obviously. That's why she's begging people to come back. No one's moving there, and people are still fleeing. And what are their policies? Can you name one thing her or Mamdani said that might attract a working class person or better, wealth-wise, to come back?
Well, forget about working class. She doesn't want the working class. She's got enough of those. She wants those high net people, millionaires, and people.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Not even a working class person would come back. If I had millions of dollars, I wouldn't come back either. Mamdani wants to lower the threshold of the estate tax to trigger at $750,000 net worth, and he wants to take half. Now, for those of you guys who are not from the New York area, New York City metro area, you cannot buy a house for less than $750,000. So that means your average working class person, if Mamdani gets his way and he passes away, that house would have to go up for sale, and half of it would go to the government, and it wouldn't get passed down to his kids. Right? That's unreal when you think about it like that.
Oh, it's been a generation. Going back to Cuomo, going back to Patterson. I mean, you can keep going back. Andrew Cuomo, everyone in the city, in the state, actually, they're property rich and they're cash poor, and they will leverage their property to the hilt, and you have more foreclosures going on, and all the while, the state and the city of the People's Republic of New York are continuing to siphon more and more money off of everyday people. That's what's going on right now. That's what Mamdani is threatening to do right now. If the state doesn't raise the state corporate tax, doesn't raise the estate tax like you said, and doesn't raise taxes on people with net worth of $1 million and up, that's what's going to end up happening. But Hochul's putting out this message, trying to signal to businesses to come back. They're not coming back. We all know that. But meanwhile, Mamdani is saying the exact opposite. So who's really in charge here? Take a look at this.
You're talking about fast and free buses and you're meeting with the governor. I've heard you talk about many times that you don't want to take money away from the MTA. You want to put money back in. It's something that she agrees with, right? We don't want to take away money from the MTA. How are you getting that money, the $700 million to make the buses free, into the MTA if she's not for raising taxes?
I think that the two clearest ways to raise that money is through the raising of the state's corporate tax to match that of New Jersey. I think that a lot of this is still a case to be made, whether it's the corporate tax or whether it's the personal income tax on those who make more than $1 million a year or more. I think that these are the clearest ways. I've also said that if there are other ways to raise this funding, the most important fact is that we fund it, not the question of how we do it, but that we do it.
So we got to fund the program before we know what the program's all about. Typical socialist, hand in everybody's pocket but his own. Mainly because the city's looking at a multi-billion-dollar deficit itself that, by the way, the state's already pouring $1.5 billion into. He just started this week calling for searching departments for efficiencies and looking to cut things. Oh my goodness, he almost broke his neck trying to say it, I guess. But, dude,
yeah,
I mean, there are no words. There are no words for this.
First of all, he talks about raising taxes on people who earn $1 million a year or more. Who earns $1 million a year or more? Let me fill you in on who those people are. Those are people that probably work in finance or other, areas of the economy where they're exportable skills, right? You don't need an office location in downtown Manhattan anymore to conduct business. Dallas, Texas has more financial people than New York City right now because there's no state income tax there, right? So they're fleeing. The very people that he thinks are going to pay more are just going to continue leaving. And you mentioned something earlier, Gene. You said, New Yorkers are property rich. They are until they retire, right? Because you might be able to afford $1 million house in Brooklyn in a shitty neighborhood while you're earning, $100,000 to $150,000 a year, maybe a little bit more. That's what cops are getting at top pay now. You can earn, 6 figures. But the minute you retire, you can no longer afford to live there, not only because of the general cost of living is so outrageous, your property taxes are suffocating. So, yes, what happens to New Yorkers? They make a lot of money, especially city workers. They build up huge pensions, and then they sell and move down south. And what happens down south? They're the beneficiaries of New York pensions. Keep moving down here, boys. Bring that New York money down here so you can keep the South afloat with all that good New York money and let those slaves, dummies in New York keep paying into it.
But what about what Matt is saying here, pal? The only bad thing about this is that the millionaires and billionaires move to red states even after supporting Democratic bills, and they'll bring that culture down with them. So what do you have to say to that?
Listen, that's a fear, right? I live in a red state down south, and it's a concern. I am less concerned about it, and I'll tell you why. And this is anecdotal, but it bears out in the elections, right? The South has been gaining lots of Northerners, especially Florida and South Carolina, and those states have become more red, right? When I bump into other, ex-New Yorkers that took the Underground Railroad to get down here, they're red. They're right of center. They ain't voting Democrat. The few Democrats I run into, I can't think of an elected Democrat anywhere near where I live. Okay. And if my state would have jumped on board with the redistricting, we'd have no elected Democrats in Congress, in our congressional delegation. I don't know why we didn't do that. Right. But yeah, I know it's a concern. I'm just not that concerned about it. Because if you think about this, and I'll jump off this topic, or I'll jump off this high horse here. The New Yorkers that are moving, they may or may not have voted a certain way in New York. But the ones who are moving into red states, they can't possibly be super pro-abortion and super environmentalists and super vegetarians and super I don't want anybody to have a gun, right? Because how could you stomach living in a place that allows all those things or doesn't allow the things that you feel so strongly about, right? So I just don't believe it. I think a lot of people in New York are brainwashed. I'd like to believe that you and I were brainwashed at one point, Gene, where we bought into the whole New York tough. And if you can make it here, you can make it anywhere. We're the greatest city in the world. And then I got old enough to start paying taxes, and I realized this place fucking sucks. I got to get out of here.
I mean, speak for yourself about the brainwashing. I was not brainwashed. I don't know what you're talking about. But I'll tell you who's not brainwashed, and maybe this is a good sign. Mamdani's been in office for what? 3 months? First 100 days or so we're talking about here? The voters that support him are even getting antsy. This is a video from a rally in Cambria Heights in Queens, in the People's Republic of New York City. For those who don't know, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, pal, that's Rikers Island is there. It's a heavy minority population there. Prime Mamdani voter territory as well in Queens. And listen to these supporters of Mamdani.
The greatest respect. In every campaign speech, in every debate where you engage, we opened our ears to listen. Now today, accept the words echoing from us now. Do your job as mayor and leave our taxes out.
Having only 2 options. You're saying if we don't tax the rich, then I got to increase property taxes. We are not a pawn in Southeast Queens. We are not part of your negotiation tactics. Zohran Mamdani, you are out your goddamn mind.
Out your goddamn mind. Oh, look who woke up too late. You mean all those promises of free stuff, you're finally realizing that there's no such thing as free when it comes from the government? Shocking. I'm shocked. Look at my shocked face right here.
Gene, the Democrats' worst nightmare is for middle-class, tax-paying, property-owning blacks to wake up and leave the plantation, right? And once you start working and paying taxes and you get into the middle class, you realize that the Democrats have nothing left to offer you. All they have left is to take from you and give to the illegal immigrants and the people that refuse to work. I love seeing that man speak, and I hope more people wake the hell up and start speaking that way.
Absolutely. As Mark Green says in the chat, shortest honeymoon phase ever. Gotta love it. Looking at some comments. Oh, I see Ryan's here tonight. Yay, Ryan came on time. He actually showed up. Good for you, pal. He wants to talk about Trump's district in Mar-a-Lago in the state legislature turning blue. Apparently, he doesn't know that special elections don't mean dick, but whatever. Let's go on to another topic now. We've been following what's going on with ICE and TSA and the DHS shutdown and all that. Whole lot going on there, but the thing that's making news today is Philadelphia's DA, I think his name is Larry Krasner. He's back on his high horse talking some nonsense, threatening ICE agents who are showing up to relieve TSA workers who are not showing up. They're basically quiet quitting because of the Democrats withholding their pay from them. And listen to this nonsense from Krasner. This is going to set us up.
You commit crimes within the jurisdiction that is the city and county of Philadelphia, I prosecute you. That is how it works. No, I don't take a phone call from the president saying let him go. No, the president cannot pardon you. I'll say it again. The president cannot pardon you. And yes, I will put you in handcuffs, and I will put you in a courtroom, and if necessary, I will put you in a jail cell. If you decide to make the terrazzo floor of this airport anything like what you did in the streets of Minneapolis, which involved the criminal homicide of unarmed, innocent people. We are not having that here. But let me go back to all ICE agents who are going to keep their oath, who are going to follow the law and uphold the Constitution of the United States. Thank you for keeping your oath. To any agent who might think about doing it an illegal way, I'll be seeing you in court, and you're not going to like it.
So he's got the balls to threaten ICE agents, federal employees, but, you know, Philadelphia is just peachy keen everywhere else. No crime there that he's worried about, only ICE agents. By the way, I know you want to comment on this, pal, but we do have to discuss, this isn't the first time that Krasner has done this. He actually called ICE agents those bad people from WW2 as well.
This is a small bunch of wannabe Nazis. That's what they are. In a country of 350 million, we outnumber them. If we have to hunt you down the way they hunted down Nazis for decades, we will find your identities. We will find you. We will achieve justice. And
so that's this guy Krasner here. He's more concerned about playing to the crowd and joining in on the grift that Democrats are doing with ICE. Meanwhile, as we'll see throughout, this video, other videos here, ICE is actually improving things in airports, cutting down wait times and delays. And there are people out there. I got a funny clip to show you from a paisan from Brooklyn, pal. He's totally okay with it, but we'll get to. I want to go before I show that.
Is that the Bermuda guy?
Yes. You may the Bahamas guy. Yes,
Bahamas. Yeah.
But give me your thoughts on.
So here. It's always a Democrat DA that works in a crime-ridden city that says ridiculous things like that. And for the morons in the chat, like the Ryans of the world, like I still am waiting, and I'm open to like hearing what is one policy that the current Democratic Party is pushing that actually benefits America or Americans, right? There's not one that I can think of. Every time they come on TV, whether it's Chuck Schumer or this loser DA or anyone from New York, it's always about taking money from hardworking Americans and giving it to people who are here illegally. It's always about allowing men to play in women's sports. Like I can't think of a single thing the Democrats stand for. And Gene, you're a little more worldly than I am. Can you tell me something? Play devil's advocate. Tell me something that the modern Democratic Party is pushing that actually benefits America or Americans.
Nothing that I can think of lately. That's the thing. There's really no policy that I see Democrats advocating for together to really benefit citizens, to benefit Americans. They're against voter ID currently because apparently, even though Democrats rank and file love it, even though minorities love it, they're against that. They're against what's going on in Iran, and because now all of a sudden gas prices matter, but they didn't matter back when Biden was president. I am hard pressed to think of any policy that they like, but my friend, the Democrats in leadership are a very small group. It's not like they are normal everyday people. Not like this guy here. I think his name is Chris Scally. He was at an airport up here in the Northeast, and this is the take that I find from every American that is reasonable these days.
All right, they're good. They're here to help. They're not bothering nobody. As long as they can check my bags and get me on my flight, I'm good to go. Right? I want to get to the Bahamas. I want out of here.
Just let people go on with their lives. That's what the guy's saying. My God, I'm just trying to understand.
And by the way, Matt said something really smart up top there in the chat. You know, he said it's a brilliant move that Trump made by pushing ICE to go support the TSA, and it was. It's like the ultimate checkmate. It's like, hey, guess what? The big beautiful bill funded ICE all the way through till next year. So those are federal officers. We can use them for anything, right? And he's threatening to activate the National Guard and put them in the airports. All the things the left really hates. And by the way, who defunded the TSA? It's the Democrats, right? I mean, don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong here. The Republicans are full of shit, right? We control supposedly both houses of Congress. We could at least nuke the filibuster and fund the TSA if we really wanted to, right? So I'm not giving the Republicans a free pass there. However, it is the Democrats that are not funding parts of the Department of Homeland Security while we are involved in conflict with Iran, while there are numerous terrorist attacks on our soil. The TSA is going unpaid. And the TSA, they're not like other federal officers, especially the armed ones, that can get into the six-figure salary range. The TSA officers basically earn like 40 grand a year, right? When you're earning $40,000 a year and you live near a big city with a big airport, you can't live on $40,000 a year. And you damn sure can't miss a month's worth of paychecks and not basically go fucking bankrupt, right? So I don't blame these people for not going to work, and it's all the Democrats doing. So you know what? Fuck you. Let's put ICE in the airports. Let's start arresting illegals right then and there at the airports. Send the National Guard in too. Fuck them. Give them what they want. I always say give the people what they want. The Democrats want this. Let's fucking go.
Absolutely. So results matter, right? Let's look at some of the results going on in some of these busy airports. And what better group of people to be experts about airports than CNN? You know, the ones that pay for their network to air in airports, right? They're going to know best about airports. Let's see what's going on in Atlanta. This is pretty surprising.
Here at the airport before it's all said and done, especially for the folks who've been working nonstop, extra shifts. If you look right here, you can see this is the main checkpoint. Almost no lines, no waiting, Sarah. And it's unbelievable at this point. This morning started briskly with a lot of people showing up here at the airport. Lines were long. People were waiting about an hour. But when that rush hour went away pretty quickly this morning, we ended up with this. And there seems to be more lines open than normal right now with the TSA workers here breezing people through. In fact, a lot of folks have been showing up shocked at how short the lines are. Take a listen to some of the folks we talked to this morning.
I don't see how extra security could be bad, you know. I mean, they're going to help out and, you know, make things move a little faster. But whether they're doing that or not, we don't know. But extra security is always good to me.
I mean, you think it's not going to be that bad, but then you get here and, you know, you think, oh, man, it really is as bad as they say it is.
So there's a bit of a mix here. So when people were showing up and going right into the TSA pre-check line, a lot of them weren't even checking the main checkpoint line. That line has been open and moving pretty quickly. Some folks just get so used to going to the line they go to, they didn't even check to see what that's like.
So those privileged few who go to pre-check, the ones that pay the extra money for it, they're seeing the longer lines, and the normal TSA line was open for people that didn't want to pay for the privilege of waiting in that special line. Shocking. When you actually create solutions for people, things happen, results happen. Crazy, right?
I think what's even more shocking, Gene, and I kind of mentioned this with the whole middle class, tax-paying blacks, property owners in New York. You'd be hard pressed to find videos when they do these interviews, whether it's CNN or anybody really, to find normal black people, your everyday black American, saying that they hate ICE. Right? You'll almost never see that. So it's astonishing that the Democratic Party, which amongst black women, I think it's a 95% voting rate for Democrats, is willing to throw a constituency that block votes for them under the bus and prioritize illegal immigrants. Like, it's just shocking to me that the Democrats are doing this, and they're so fiercely fighting for the rights, the supposed rights of illegal immigrants. It really has to make you wonder, right? Are they in fact voting in our elections, and are they in fact voting for Democrats? Like, I'm more convinced now than I was a few years ago when Trump first brought this up, to be honest. There's something up with the Democrats doing a complete 180 from where they once stood on voter ID and illegal immigration and deportations from the late 90s, early 2000s to where they are today. Something's not right, Gene.
And you know what? I'll go back to the example of Philadelphia DA Larry Krasner. When would you ever think about a DA openly on multiple occasions speaking out against federal officers, threatening to arrest them? They've gone around the bend. And who better to articulate this new Democrat, the Democrats that don't want to help people, than Scott Jennings?
This is highly inappropriate. No prosecutor in America should be doing that, let alone yelling at and about law enforcement officers. Look, this debate, there's a lot of words and a lot of talking around it. We have existing federal immigration law. We have law enforcement agencies, duly sworn officers that have been ordered by the president to go out and enforce those laws. That's really all the debate is about here. And in most jurisdictions, these laws are being enforced quite amicably. There are no incidents. Transfers are happening. People are being deported that have a reason to be deported. It's just in this specific jurisdiction, people have decided that federal immigration law shouldn't apply. And now you have sort of radical Democrats around the country ramping this up even further by claiming that they're going to hunt down federal law enforcement officers as though they were Nazis. You have Eric Swalwell in California promising a reign of terror if he becomes governor against anybody who's ever worked for ICE.
I mean,
this kind of division and this kind of threat against people who basically signed up to enforce the law and do public service, it's outrageous. And any Democrat ought to be able to sit here and say, this is way over the line.
Now, pal, you have been in federal service before with our armed forces. Could you imagine, as let's say a National Guardsman or a state guardsman, whatever the case may be, a National Guardsman being deployed to an airport with a mission to assist other federal officers and working under threat from a local elected official? What would be the reaction in that environment from the average employee or officer in that environment, in that situation?
Well, I mean, obviously, you notice that a lot of Democrats have been saying this, including, J.B. Pritzker and a few others, that they would threaten to arrest federal officers conducting their, while they're doing their duties for alleged state crimes. Okay. But none of them have done it. Why? Because the Democrats, like Pritzker and DA from Philly, they're dumb, but they're not that dumb, right? Like, I'm assuming the DA went to law school, and I'm assuming he took Constitutional Law 101, and I'm assuming he understands that the Supremacy Clause means that, all federal laws passed under the Constitution are supreme over the states, and a federal officer acting in accordance with his duties is covered, right? They don't get blanket immunity, but they are covered because they're conducting federal operations, part of their job. Now, if an ICE agent off duty kills someone, that's a whole different story, right? They're subject to state laws like anyone else. So I know they know better, but I don't think their voters do. And I think that they know their voters are dumb enough to believe that the Philadelphia City Police are going to go arrest ICE agents while they're conducting operations. The other thing I just wanted to mention here, Gene, what are the Democrats' demands? Like, why did they not fund the TSA and the Coast Guard and FEMA, right? What does that have to do with the Democrats' demands? Their major demand right now is that ICE agents not wear masks. So I remember a time when the Democrats said shutting down the government for political disagreements was like the worst thing you could possibly do. Now, when you think about something as insignificant as ICE agents wearing masks, when just a couple of years ago, they were telling us all we had to wear fucking masks just to leave our house, right? But let's put that aside for a second. Something as insignificant as ICE agents wearing masks, they're willing to risk the security of the American people who are flying on planes. And if there's a storm, FEMA is not funded, and the Coast Guard is ramping down some operations because they're not fully funded, right? When we are in the minority, by the way, they're going to get rid of the filibuster when the Democrats get the majority. That's 100% going to happen. Please remember I said this a million times, right? But let's say they don't get rid of the filibuster. The Republicans will never do this, right? We've had plenty of policy disagreements with the Democrats. The Republicans never shut down the government over a policy disagreement. They might not vote for certain spending bills that are outrageous that have nothing to do with like the functions of government, right? Because the Democrats do propose some whoppers from time to time. But we never shut down the government over dumb things like this. I think we should now. This is the Democrats always set the precedent, right? They were filibustering judicial nominees, and then we had to get rid of, and then they got rid of the filibuster for judicial nominees. Then we did it with the Supreme Court nominees. This is what they do now. The Republicans need to grow a set of balls, and if we ever find ourselves in the minority again, just shut down the government when we disagree with any policy, not just the big ones, anything we disagree with, shut it down.
Well, let's talk about the state of the government now vis-a-vis this DHS shutdown that the Democrats are perpetuating. I don't buy the spin from either side. I try to look for sources that are credible, reputable, and that I know I can count on to give me the straight shoot here. One of those people I think does that is Senator John Kennedy. I think he doesn't pull punches. I don't think he cares about what side is right or wrong. He's always going to be on the side of the angels, in my opinion. This was his assessment as to the state of negotiations between the left and the right when it comes to this shutdown. And he doesn't have good things to say about either side.
Closely involved in these talks. Is this deal falling apart right now, or is there still some hope?
Well, here's the way I see it, Wolf. I try to look at the world as it is, not as I want it to be. Solving this problem through reconciliation, it's clear to me, is going to be very, very difficult. I got up this morning about 5 o'clock. I can read. I can watch TV. I watch the news. Number one, the reason I said it's going to be very hard, number one, the president is against it. I was told, I haven't been in meetings with the president, I was told that he was for it. One senator told me he was even enthusiastic. That's not accurate. He's not for it. Number two, our majority leader is everything. Whoever the majority leader is controls the floor. And based on the comments I've read this morning, our majority leader is not really for it. Number three, my Republican colleagues who are leading the talking filibuster clearly want to continue the talking filibuster, as is their right. Number four, Senator Schumer has changed his mind. Chuck probably has another side to this story, but the whole opening everything up on reconciliation is premised on the suggestion by Democrats that they would open everything up, including TSA, but ICE, and we would have to deal with ICE on our own. Senator Schumer has changed that position. He no longer will open up the rest of the department unless we agree to what he wants to do on ICE. So,
let me just leave this up on the screen right now so everybody can see what the demands are. But before we start talking about these demands, pal, Republicans are facing a four-front war. There's 4 different fronts here. There's the president and what the president wants. There's the majority leader and what the majority leader wants. There's the rank and file that are somewhere in the middle that are going to be sheep or whatever. And then there's those who are fighting to reform the Senate and bring back the talking filibuster. That's 4 fronts just fighting each other. And then you can talk about the Democrats and their demands. What the fuck, man?
And it's because so many Republicans are weak and spineless, and then just so many Republicans that are elected, as well as just the general population, have no idea what any of these terms mean. Let me just jump on reconciliation real quick. Reconciliation is a Senate rule, right? It's not in the Constitution anywhere to be found. Reconciliation means, according to the Senate rules that as they currently exist, that you can pass a spending bill with 51 votes, which, by the way, that's what it says in the Constitution, right? But that spending bill has to be for non-discretionary spending, okay? So, like, we're talking about things like the military, the departments, the State Department, right? Non-discretionary spending, things that are baked in to the budget that are just continuous, and it's just like a perfunctory vote of Congress to spend that money again or raise it up, with cost of living adjustments and inflation, right? So when we say we're going to pass things like the Save America Act under reconciliation, John Thune and the Republicans know that that's not possible, right? That is a policy. It's not non-discretionary spending. The parliamentarian will say that that's not eligible for reconciliation, and it will never happen, right? So that's number one. Number two, the filibuster is also just a Senate rule. Nowhere in the Constitution will you see it say 60 votes are required to pass a bill. That's not what the founders envisioned. It's a simple majority in the Senate. That's another stupid Senate rule. They can eliminate the filibuster tonight if they wanted to with a simple majority. It only takes 51 votes or 50 plus the vice president to change a rule in the Senate and go back to constitutional order and let them vote.
I got nothing to add to that, pal, but I do want to talk about mainly because you hit everything I would agree with. I want to talk about these demands here.
Yes.
What a crock of shit. There's a couple in there that I would go with, I would agree with. But let's run through this list. Targeted enforcement. I mean, I'm pretty sure that every day ICE goes out with an agenda of who they're going to be going after, and they have their targets acquired, for lack of a better word. No masks. Screw you. The third one I love, require ID. Yet they're fighting voter ID, but they want to require officers to have ID, which, by the way, officers should be identified. They have their name on their uniform. Okay, but just the irony of it to me is whatever. Protect sensitive locations. What the hell does that mean? No racial profiling. Duh, nobody should be doing racial profiling. Use of force standards. Excuse me, but that's already established by DOJ protocol, DHS protocol. If you want to have them rewritten or whatever. By the way, the courts also have their own standards and precedent for use of force standards. You want to rewrite everything? Pass a law. You start writing it up now. I mean, come on. Outside investigation? Screw you. They're a law enforcement agency. There are processes to make complaints. There are processes to change things. Go through those normal processes. Safeguards. What the hell does that mean? Body cameras is the one thing I will agree with. And demilitarized. This is the most general, just, what's the word I'm looking for here? The most generalized placation I could ever think to see here.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, you were nice by even going down this list. I want to go down the list too.
Oh, I'll put it back up.
Yeah,
Hang on.
please put it back up there.
Hang on.
We don't accept the premise of anything the Democrats ever say, right? Because they're masters at wordsmithing and putting a list. This, whatever they're talking about here, these 10 things, I guarantee you is a 1,000-page bill, right? It's not these 10 things. Targeted enforcement. What that means is they want judicial warrants for illegal immigrants. There's fucking 30 million of them here. We'll never be able to deport anyone. No masks. They want to intimidate ICE agents and have them in fear of their lives and their family lives by being easily identifiable. Number 3, see what I just said about number 2. Same thing. Number 4, protect sensitive locations. They do the same thing with gun control, right? They just deem everything a sensitive location. Your place of work, your place of school, your place of worship, anything is a sensitive, where you go shopping for food, everything becomes a sensitive location, and we deport no one. End racial profiling. Accents, you can't speak English, that will be deemed racial profiling, and that's some of the things that ICE agents look for when they're out in the field. Use of force standards, like you said, it already exists, right? They'll just go further and say they can't use any force. Require outside investigation. By who? Right? The DOJ already has oversight over anything that happens with ICE after an internal investigation by that department, just like every other fucking police department. Number 8 is add safeguards. You know what that means? That's the catch-all. That's where they just go willy-nilly and there's no enforcement ever again. Body cameras, like you said, we could agree. I bet you the ICE agents agree with that shit too. And demilitarized police, this is where Rand Paul gets a boner, because the libertarians always talk about this. And I always said this is something that the left and right probably should agree on, right? I don't think law enforcement officers should be militarized in this country, right? They shouldn't have tanks. They shouldn't be wearing camouflage like the military. They should look like police officers, okay? And I agree with them on that. So out of all those, we could talk about number 10. But number 10, again, don't accept their premise. Number 10 for them probably means like they'll use only rubber bullets and not be armed, right? Like New York City wants to send
they'll send in the social workers.
Yeah. So don't agree with none of them. All 10 of those are bullshit. They're all designed to protect illegal immigrants. Their voter base, honestly.
Absolutely. So this was part of what happened today. The other thing that happened today was the acting administrator of TSA appeared before Congress, and there were some moments there to discuss as well. I'm going to play some clips from that. I'm going to pull them up as we go here. And while I'm doing this, guys, hit that thumbs up button, smash it right now, like, comment, share the show. I want you guys to talk back to us. If you guys have anything you want to say about what we're talking about, be like Matt, get into the comments with it. Hell, you can even be like Trevino559 if you want to troll us with any sort of vegetable of your choice. If you want to do that and look like a fucking moron, you can do that too if you want to. I don't care. But
what are those? Were those moulignons? What are
they? They were moulignons, yes.
Moulignons.
Yes. And by the way, that's not a racist term. That is the Italian word for eggplant. That is what that is.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Let me find this video with the opening statement. Let me see if I should have it here. Yep, here it is right now.
We lost over 480 TSOs this shutdown, and our call-out rates have accelerated as our workforce was still reeling from the last shutdown.
By the way, this is her opening remarks to, I forget which House committee it was, but it's to one of the House committees concerning oversight of TSA, and she's going to be going through the effects of this shutdown that is being perpetuated by Democrats.
Prior to this shutdown, our TSO call-out rate was 4%. Now, multiple major airports are experiencing days where 40 to 50% of their staff are calling out because they simply cannot afford to report to work. This has led to the highest wait times in TSA history, with some wait times greater than 4.5 hours. We are being forced to consolidate lanes and may have to close smaller airports if we do not have enough officers.
So that's part of the testimony before Congress. The deputy administrator also went on to Fox News and gave this assessment as well. As soon as I find it here, because I downloaded so many clips today, man, that it's almost hard to keep track of. But let's go to this one.
Absolutely everything we can. We have a national deployment office force, and we've fully depleted that. So at this point, we're fully stretched. And so, frankly, there's not much else we can do. As the weeks continue, if this continues, it's not hyperbole to suggest that we may have to quite literally shut down airports, particularly smaller ones, if call-out rates go up and we can't, a lot of these officers can't afford to come in. I talked to one officer this week. She's a single mother, and she has a special needs child, and she can't afford to pay for her special needs child's childcare. So again, I believe it's frankly unconscionable that we have Senate Democrats that are playing, they're holding our folks' financial livelihood hostage over political games, political partisanship. So we really need to get back to normal order.
We need to get back to normal order. The last clip I want to show, and then we're going to have a little free-form discussion about this, is a buddy of yours, pal. I don't know if you remember Shri Thanadar.
Oh, my man.
Yes, a member of Congress that we've
Best
highlighted here on the
hairdo
show.
in Congress.
One of the dumbest members of Congress, right? He had the opportunity to question the acting administrator, Ha Nguyen McNeil. And let's just say Shri is just as sharp as he's always been.
Now telling TSOs that untrained ICE agents can do a better job than they can.
So this was the line of questioning that Democrats went to. They were basically saying, so are you okay with ICE coming in and doing the job of your TSA employees? And Shri is saying that, oh, ICE is just standing around and doing nothing.
I'm extremely thankful to the president for recognizing the crisis that we are in and leveraging assets across the Department of Homeland Security to assist our agency in this very difficult time. And the ICE agents that have shown up are there in the support of the TSA mission, and we've been spending time training them the last few days, and we're seeing relief, signs of early relief at the airports where we're seeing long lines. And this is how we function as a department. We collaborate across the component agencies, and this just underscores the importance of funding the entirety of the DHS functions.
Well, the ICE agents haven't been trained to do their ICE work. And now, I don't know what kind of training you're giving them in this short time, but I see them all sitting down, looking at their phones or chit-chatting, but looks like they have no role to play.
That's, I've been talking to my field leadership. The ICE agents that are there are doing non-specialized screening functions. It's been incredibly helpful to alleviate the burden on our workforce. And we're
I think we missed a little bit there. At least I missed that.
They have role to play.
That's, I've been talking to my field leadership. The ICE agents that are there are doing non-specialized screening functions. It's been incredibly helpful to alleviate the burden on our workforce, and we're getting positive feedback from passengers and our field leadership alike.
Sit down, Mr. Thanadar. You don't know what the fuck you're talking about. According to the acting administrator of TSA. Where do they find these people? That's what I want to know.
Honestly, it's hard to even like. First of all, he's like, obviously he's not qualified to be in Congress, but he's a hard guy to hate because he's such a clown. But this is what the Democrats put up, right? We have our dummies too. Don't get me wrong. But seriously, California, he's from California, right?
I will look it up as we're talking. I'm
pretty sure
Michigan,
he is.
but I could be wrong.
Guys, this is who you're sending to represent you. The guy is fucking clueless. Right? Didn't he try to introduce articles of impeachment against Donald Trump like in week one
last
of
year?
His second term?
Yeah, like last year.
Yeah, it's like this guy's a fucking clown, man. How can he say ICE agents standing there doing nothing and the line was moving kind of quick? Like, dude, they solved the fucking problem, right? You have a handful of TSA guys screening bags because the ICE agents probably ain't trained in that. But the guy who's checking your ticket when you first walk up could be an ICE agent, right? Or a National Guardsman or whoever else the left hates. We could put them there.
By the way, Matt is okay with putting Republicans on blast that we can all agree with. But yes, Thanadar is from Michigan, by the way. Michigan's 13th district. Another wonderful.
And you're going to tell me that either the Democrats are not totally stupid people or illegals are not voting in our elections, right? That's what you're going to tell me. That guy can run in a district with educated people in it that are actually American citizens, and that's the guy they would send to represent them in Congress. You're full of shit. There ain't nobody can tell me that.
But you know what? He's also one of those useful idiots because he does have some money. He did have a business. I think he still has a business that clears millions of dollars. So he'd be one of those people that Kathy Hochul will be looking for to be, those patriarch millionaires to cut her the check and all that. So
yeah, but who lost to that guy? I can almost guarantee you he either ran unopposed or there was a throwaway candidate and he won 90-10. Right? There's no way that he's in a district where a Republican even has a chance, and that's when the left goes all in and they elect retards like that.
Right. I'll go look up Ballotpedia right now and see. I pretty sure. I'm guessing and see, but that's going to take a while. And frankly, I don't want to waste more time on this guy, but I guarantee you he's one of those types. But yeah, I don't see them working. Well, Mr. Thanadar, where did you go see them? Did you go to the airports to inspect them? How long did you try to inspect? What were your notes? Do you have video? What are you talking about here? I see them not working. You know who I don't see working? Democrats to try to fix this issue. That's who I don't see working. Unreal.
They're using the
We got one more
minority
topic.
status, man.
You want to wrap this one up?
Yeah, we could jump onto something else. I just hope that the Republicans are taking notes, right, and use their minority status in the future to actually do the same thing.
No, they're not. They're not. They think they're above the game. People like Thune and Barrasso and Cornyn and people in the upper leadership like that, they think they're above the game. That they don't play. They play by a different set of rules, a higher set of rules that makes them more virtuous or whatever. They just don't do it right. That's the bottom line.
And by the way, Susan Collins, Rand Paul, Lisa Murkowski, I just hope they lose, man. Like, it's very going into the midterms, right? Let me just say this real quick, Gene. Going into the midterms, it's not only the Iran war or certain policies that people soured on that may cause the Republicans to lose. It's literally that the base of the Republican voters do not support the Republican Party because they don't do shit when you give them a majority, right? So I hope Murkowski loses. I hope Collins loses. What does it matter if we have 53 senators that call themselves Republicans if we can't pass shit, right? I'd rather have 48 and just going in that we're not going to be able to do shit, right? Instead of getting our hopes up saying, well, it's the most important election of our lifetime. We got to get Trump in there. We got to get the House. We got to get the Senate. And now what? A good chunk of his presidency, the government has been shut down either partially or almost fully. And that, by the way, affects GDP. When they talk, don't think the Democrats don't know this, by the way. They do know this. GDP numbers come out quarterly, and when government spending is included in the gross domestic product numbers that get pushed out there. So when the government does not spend large sums of money due to government shutdowns, those numbers are not included. So when you have like a 1% growth as opposed to a 2 or 3% growth because the government wasn't spending money, this is why, right? And I'm all for the government not spending money, but not on shit where you're going to pay back pay anyway. They're only delaying the inevitable. When these ICE agents get back pay, that will get included in GDP. So this quarter might look like shit. But guess what happens next quarter? It's going to artificially look even better than it was again.
So I agree with what a lot of you are saying, except with the exception of talking about Susan Collins specifically, only because there are certain places that you'll never get the type of Republican conservative you want. Maine is one of those places, in my opinion. So I think you get what you get and you don't get upset about that. Alaska, fuck Murkowski. Kentucky, I think you can get somebody better there as well than Rand Paul.
One of the problems, though, Gene, is when you're talking about overall votes in the Senate, you might be right because, it's a coin toss. Sometimes they'll vote with us, sometimes they won't. The problem is when you start putting these idiots on committees where you might only have a 1-vote majority on a committee because you control who goes on the committees, and then you got a Murkowski on that committee, and we can't pass bills out of committee a lot of times because of these morons.
But then you're not going to get anything out of committee because if you have a Democrat win instead, well, it's the case of there you go, right?
I'd rather know going in that we ain't going to pass shit. I hate getting your hope. Gene, if voter ID is a 90% across the board, everybody wants it, and we can't pass this, and the Republicans won't eliminate the Democrats are shutting down the government over ICE wearing masks. The Republicans have a 90% issue that people agree with, and they won't eliminate the filibuster for this one vote to get it passed, right? Who's playing the game better?
No, and I get that. They are playing the game better. But you also can't hate them enough. You can't hate Democrats enough, especially when you see what's going on in Chicago with the shooting of this college student at Loyola. That they arrested this illegal immigrant for allegedly unaliving this young woman, Sheridan Gorman. And you have elected Democrats like this woman that I'm going to show you right now. She's I believe her name is Maria Hadel She's an older woman from the area where this happened. And this is the spin that you put on the unaliving of a young, by all accounts, wonderful, bright young lady. And this is what you do.
What I've been told so far, right, from what police know, from speaking to the students who were with her, it seems she might have, that as they were just out, you know, people go out to the beach all the time, right? And they go out on the pier, they walk around. So the kids were out doing normal things people do in the neighborhood. And it sounds like this might have been a wrong place, wrong time, running into a person who had a gun. They might have startled this person at the end of the pier unintentionally. But
what the fuck is this? Wrong place, wrong time, and we're victim blaming? The victim startled the guy with the gun?
Oh, and by the way, that young lady was shot from behind. Right. So he was so startled that this woman ran away and got shot from behind by an illegal immigrant. You notice how these people, and by these people, I mean leftist, Democrat, mostly women, really, but men too. They never give this benefit of the doubt scenario. I don't know, to police officers who might have been
ICE agents or just white people in general that are like being surrounded by mobs of violent minority people. They never get the benefit of the doubt like this. But a young white college girl who's at the wrong place in the wrong time. So where is, Gene, you're a lawyer. Tell me what the wrong place and wrong time is for an American citizen. Like, where are we not allowed to go? Yeah, where was this woman? It's a great question. Where is this woman not allowed to go for fear of being shot and killed?
Right?
And it's an unfortunate situation. Like you know, stepping in dog poop. That's what this was. This is, oh, she stepped in dog poop and now she's no longer here. Poor thing.
Like, if that young lady broke into my house in the middle of the night and I shot her, then she was in the wrong place at the wrong time, right? But if she's walking in a park, minding her own fucking business, how is she in the wrong place at the wrong time?
And more importantly, what kind of heartless piece of shit goes on TV and says that?
And then never retracts it. Where's her video coming back saying she was wrong?
Well, you know things are getting bad when other Chicago Democrats are calling statements like that out. A colleague of this woman, another alderman, went on to Fox News of all places and, believe it or not, called out this behavior and calling out Pritzker's statements as well.
The Illinois governor doubling down on this is all Donald Trump's fault and that he's not getting the job done. Listen here.
I agree. There have been real failures. Those failures, of course, extend beyond the borders of Illinois. They're national failures, a failure to have comprehensive immigration reform, a failure of the president to follow his own edict to go after the worst of the worst.
Sounds like he's blaming Donald Trump.
Well, he's absolutely blaming Donald Trump. And listen, I'm not a rabid Trump supporter or hater. But if you're going to blame the federal government, then blame it where this problem began, which was under the Biden-Harris administration that allowed 15 million people from South America, Central America, and across the oceans to come through our southern borders, manipulate us.
I'm going to let this guy finish, but Raymond Lopez, Chicago alderman, Democrat. You saw we started the show talking about, you know, is there such a thing as a Democrat that cares about America? Did we just happen to find one?
And he's as left as you get, by the way, because I've looked into him. A lot of the things he wants is as left as you can go. But on this issue, he has some sense. He has like the Fetterman brain tick, where I guess his brain is firing correctly on this one.
Well, let's go back. Let's give him the opportunity to give his full statement.
Well, he's absolutely blaming Donald Trump. And listen, I'm not a rabid Trump supporter or hater. But if you're going to blame the federal government, then blame it where this problem began, which was under the Biden-Harris administration that allowed 15 million people from South America, Central America, and across the oceans to come through our southern borders, manipulate asylum, be poorly vetted, and then scattered to the 7 winds of the United States. That's where this problem started, and I have yet to hear a single Democrat hold Biden and Harris accountable for what has happened, because they knew who they were allowing in, they have their information, they vetted them poorly and still let them go even when they were criminals. And to say it's Donald Trump's fault simply because we refuse to work with them to go after those high priority targets. There are 2,000 priority targets in the city of Chicago right now who we know are dangers, courtesy of the Biden-Harris administration that vetted them, but we will not allow the Trump administration to remove them simply because we don't want to look as though we're capitulating to him.
Wow. That is a heavy indictment of not only Chicago Democrats, but Democrats in general. They would rather look like they would rather people die and allow violent people who should not be in this country be here and remain here than even appear to look like they agree with Donald Trump. That is the definition of Trump derangement syndrome.
Yes. And Pritzker, his Ozempic ass, has some nerve. Illinois is a sanctuary state. This guy did have a criminal record. And you could say Donald Trump wasn't doing his job. If you guys worked with ICE and honored detainers, this guy would have been deported a long time ago, right? You can't blame the Fed. You can't have your party not wanting ICE to enforce any immigration law, not want to close the border, not cooperate with ICE when your local police actually arrest these assholes, and then blame Donald Trump. Like, it's impossible.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to let the clip go on and see if there's anything more on this, because I got home so late, I didn't have a chance to vet every single clip here.
You know, I think I'll end the interview where I usually do, because it sounds more and more, Raymond, like you continue to align more with your colleagues on the other side of the aisle. Are you still a Democrat?
Well, I am still a Democrat, even though I'm not as crazy and rabid as the rest of them, because I think that we have to show that you can be a Democrat who believes in public safety. You can be a Democrat who understands what thoughtful immigration looks like. And to be clear, we also understand that there's all kinds of non-citizens here. We have people who've been here for decades, since Obama was president, waiting for a path that the party's forgotten about. We have to be able to show that we are more than just left-wing nut jobs, but that we actually can work from a place of common sense as well.
Okay, so this is my first impression of this guy, seeing this interview. Don't hate him. He could be, I could disagree with him on 90% of the issues, but he's sane. This is someone I can work with for compromise.
So he's sane on this one issue. His claim to fame was actually during the Lori Lightfoot years. I've been following this guy for a while. She was always saying things like, crime is under control and there's no issue in Chicago. Meanwhile, his constituents were being killed left and right. And he had incidents right outside of his own house where he couldn't leave and he was scared a few times. So that's like what started waking him up. So socially far left as you can get. As far as law and order, I think he had a close caller to himself in his own district and knows lots of his own constituents did as well. So on law and order, he's got some sense. And that's usually what happens, right? Everyone's a liberal in New York City and places like that until they get robbed on the train, right? And then all of a sudden they're pro-police and they want people to pay the fare and they don't want a bunch of homeless people around because they saw somebody get burned alive on the fucking F train in Coney Island, right? That's what makes conservatives, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think that's about it. Any final words on this topic that you want to say? I don't want to cut you off here, but I think we're getting right around to the end of the show here. I think
we said all we could say on this, man. And I will just reiterate this for everyone listening. Think long and hard why the Democrats are fighting so hard to protect people who are here illegally, right? It can't just be for humanitarian reasons because this wasn't their position a decade or two ago, right? So what is it really? They're against voter ID and they're for keeping illegals here. You don't got to be fucking Nostradamus to see what they're up to.
Yeah, and when you couple that with what's going on with the Save America Act, this picture becomes even more clear because now it's all about elections. It's all about the voter base. Actually, Matt beat me to it in the chat. Voter base. That's what it's all about right there. So, hey, some people out there are, they know what's going on, man. I'm appreciating a lot of people in the chat. Appreciating a lot of people that stop by, that subscribe to this channel. and join us in the discussion here. We can let the trolls out a little bit if you want, pal. I think a lot of them left because
they're all gone. Ryan's
they were sufficiently stomped during the show, so I don't think we need to do anything with them. Want to do some final thoughts and get out, or what?
Yeah, let's close this up. I got stuff.
All right. So my final thought, I'm going to go first real quick. It's related to what we've been talking about with this DHS shutdown and what's going on with TSA. This is going to have a ripple effect going forward into our summer, especially when we're talking about the World Cup, folks. You want to talk about what's going to damage this country? How about people coming from all over the world going through with TSA during World Cup season? Think about what seeds the Democrats are sowing here. The strategy here is more than just to get the concessions they want. It's to damage the right in not only running up to the midterms, but also in the pocketbook. All these places you think are going to be prepared for the World Cup after what we saw going on with just normal travel in the end of winter, early spring? Buckle up, folks. This is going to have a ripple effect for months to come, and it's going to be a bumpy ride, and you can thank your local Democrat for all the chaos that's going to be coming. That's my final thought on tonight. Your turn, pal.
My final thought goes out to my former fellow New Yorkers. Andrew Cuomo was evil. Kathy Hochul is evil and dumb. The New York legislature has supermajorities of left-wing Democrats, right? No matter what or who the governor is, it ain't going to matter. Lee Zeldin was a good man. Bruce Blakeman is a good man with common sense. Those are Republicans that did run for governor and are running for governor. But spoiler alert, Blakeman can't win, right? There's no hope. Even if he did win, they have a supermajority, right? New York, wake up. It's only going to get worse if you have the ability to leave, even if you have to go to New Jersey, right? It's not much better there. But New York is doomed. Get the fuck out while you still can. And that's my final thought.
The only conservatives benefiting from this election cycle, once again, is the consultant class, who will get paid regardless of outcome. Correct. That's really all there is to it, man. All right, we're going to shut this sucker down. I want to thank you guys for joining us in the chat. Thank you guys for liking, commenting, sharing the show with your friends. All that really good stuff. But right now, we're going to shut this sucker down. Thanks for tuning in Behind Enemy Lines. Gene and Ross saying good night. And let's play our fucking anthem.
We're not allowed, not without electoral.
Go fuck yourself. Is that clear?
Teeth, don't let them have sway. Conservative battalions walking them out, marching through the streets while the buffoons all shout. Move in the shadows, flag on my chest, repping my clan, putting faith to the test. Cause left face blue behind enemy lines, fighting for the truth, feels like wartime. Don't back down, keep it rugged and raw. Cool in the chaos, but loud in the war. But loud in the war. Thunder, arm in advance, march to the anthem, this is our chance. Defy every stare with a smirk and a gaze, holding down the fort in this Democrat cage. Whistles in the dark, strategies unfold, allies unseen, but bonds remain bold. Commitment to the cause in the heart of the storms, in the name of freedom we're breaking the norm. Cause let's stay blue behind enemy lines, fighting for the truth, feels like wartime. Don't back down, keep it rugged and raw. cars were loud in the